From Havertown, Pennsylvania to Hartford, Connecticut, Chris Lawrence has always been involved in hockey. Nowadays, he'll be taking his talents to the business end, but it was the playing career that Chris had that really propelled him to his latest heights. Gotta Love Connecticut Hockey comes to you today from the capital city's XL Center, where the Pack are back. I'm here today with Chris Lawrence. Chris is the general manager of the XL Center, Rentschler Field, and business operations for the Hartford Wolfpack. Great to have you aboard today, Chris.
Thanks, appreciate it.
You have a big task ahead of you this year, but before we get into that, I kind of want to talk about your youth hockey roots, because that's what we do here at Gotta Love Connecticut Hockey. And Chris, you grew up in a town called Havertown, PA.
Yeah, I grew up there about 15 miles just outside of Philadelphia, a little west of Philly. All the way through high school, and started playing hockey at the age of 4. Really get into some high-level travel, probably early Pee-wees, right around there, probably around the 11, 12-year-old, and then all the way through high school.
Were you a big fan of the Flyers?
I am, I still am, diehard, yeah.
You were able to travel across North America. Obviously, I believe you played in Prague for the Four Nations Cup. A great amateur career. When did scouts start to notice you? When
I was probably bantam midget, I had some opportunities maybe even to come up to New England from a boarding school standpoint, and some of the prep schools up here I looked at. But I decided to go the junior route, and so it was probably during my midget career, and a little bit before that, you get into select 15, 16, 17-year-old tournaments. During those summers, there's a lot of scouts, mostly college, but junior scouts, and got drafted into the USHL in Dubuque, Iowa. Spent a year there, and then spent 2 years in Pittsburgh. Through that route, and talking about the junior ranks there, what are some of the advantages that you could tell our young Connecticut hockey fans out there? Everybody has their own goals, their own dreams, and the right answer to go play juniors or to go play prep school or to stay where you're at and just kind of go through and go that route. There's not a wrong one, I don't think. It really depends on what each individual player is looking for, what is right for that particular family. So every scenario is different, and it's important to do your homework, do your research, know what program you're going to. If it's a junior program and you're looking to go try out, or talking to coaches, how many players are returning, what's their rate been to produce Division I or Division III, whatever your goals or aspirations are as a player. Eventually, Michigan State came knocking on your door, and yeah. Obviously that was a call you accepted. Why did you choose to go there? I had verbally committed to Mercyhurst College in Erie during my third year juniors, my second year in Pittsburgh. Our team was extremely successful. We ended up winning a national championship at the junior level, and was fortunate enough to be a part of that, and individually had some success. So towards the latter half of the year, my coach pulled me up to the bus one night, and he said Michigan State is really interested and they want to try and get you. And I was kind of confused, because for a couple months now I'd already felt like I was committed and knew where I was going. And then after getting a chance to talk to them and talk to my folks a little bit, and it was just an opportunity that I didn't want to regret. A lot of the young kids want to be with their friends and travel wherever that has to be. And even if it happened to you, if that were to be at Mercyhurst, how do you kind of get away from that and focus on the main goal? It's extremely difficult to advance each level. So when you get to that point where you're looking at, whatever it is, whatever college level it is, you really need to look at taking a look at the academic program and the academic success, and what kind of demands are put on you as a student athlete, because it's difficult. You have to manage your time correctly. That really is the most important aspect of going to look at a school, to setting yourself up for future endeavors, because chances are, unless you're the elite of the elite, you're not going to advance past the college level. It continues to shrink the amount of players that advance after that. So setting yourself up for the rest of your life is a difficult challenge to do at that age, at 18, 19 years old. Most people don't know what they want to do at that point, but really just looking at the whole picture and making sure that is a focus of what you're looking at is important. I believe before your senior year, the team at Michigan State was one of the number one seeds in the tournament, and very good season, but ultimately you guys failed. How did that help in your development? I think it really motivated the guys who were coming back the following year. We talked about it a lot all summer, and even during the course of what happened to be my senior year. It certainly fed our motivation, and really got us that much more focused to kind of capturing our goal. A little foreshadowing, it sounds like, in your answer for that 07-08 year. But before we get to that, obviously you had to get there in that season, named captain right beforehand. That's a big step for you. I was fortunate enough to kind of get voted captain. I say it was because of my age, but I think the guys just kind of saw those qualities in me and trusted me, and coaches did as well. So it was an honor, it was a thrill, because of you look at the names and the people who put on the green and white, and to be a part of that is pretty special.
Winning that national championship and actually being able to climb that mountain, what was that like?
We got behind 1-0 in the second. We scored about 10 minutes to go in the third to tie it up, and then we scored with 18 seconds left in the third to win it, which was pretty amazing. But I remember being on the bench. I don't remember seeing the goal. I just remember jumping around like a little kid on the bench going nuts. I mean, there's a couple clips on YouTube that our bench just went bonkers.
I don't know if there was the captain's speech on YouTube, but you must have said something to rally the troops there.
No, I knew that was my last game ever, to be honest with you. I was a mess before the game. I got sick in the locker room before the game. I didn't tape my stick. I forgot to tape my stick because I knew it was going to be my last game ever. I knew I wasn't going to play pro or anywhere else, and I mean the way it ended was great. So on the bench, it was I didn't really give any big rah-rah speech. I mean, at that point, if you have to give a rah-rah speech before a national championship game, I don't think it's going to be too productive.
Talk about reality setting in, and I want to know a little bit about your transition from finishing your hockey career, and obviously you went to Adirondack a few years ago, but how was that transition for you?
Well, right after we played, there was about a month and a half left of school. Then I graduated, in mid-May, moved back home to Philly and got a job as a sales headhunter doing, sales. So I went from being a Division I athlete, working out, 3-4 times a week, being in great shape, to sitting behind a desk for 10 hours making phone calls. Something I wasn't used to. I got out of that industry after about a year and got more. I started working for a nonprofit youth hockey organization actually in Philly, which is how I got hooked up with our company. Teaching inner city kids in Philadelphia how to play hockey, teaching them life skills. Kind of gave back a little bit, but it was an opportunity for me to get into a great company, Comcast Spectacor, and that led me into the facility side of things. But going from what I was as a Division I athlete, like I said, practicing and working out 3-4 times a day or a week, to basically doing nothing, it was tough for sure. And it hits you pretty quick. So you really want to make sure, which is what I got back to, when you're selecting your colleges and you're selecting your junior programs, really seeing what the track record of that coach has been, of that organization's been to produce people, and where are they going to school. Is that somewhere where it fits in, trying to look at what your interests are? Is it more engineering? Is it education? Mathematics? Whatever your interests are, and you see yourself getting into at a college rank, setting yourself up to have opportunities. So when you're talking with college coaches, you're not just talking about, hey, am I going to be able to play second line center? It's the majors and the strengths of that university or college from an education standpoint, trying to set yourself up for what you want to do after, because chances are you're not going to be playing pro hockey. I mean, that funnel really, it narrows. You get a handful of guys from each team that go, but there's a handful of guys who don't. I think that one commercial that the NCAA has is really true. Most of us go pro in something other than sports. And that's really the reality of it. So just trying to set yourself up for that next step afterwards.
Many hockey players struggle with the realities of finishing their playing career and moving on into the corporate world. Because Chris Lawrence had his leadership skills built on the ice, he has been able to transition fine into his role with the XL Center, Rensselaer Field, and of course the Hartford Wolfpack. For Gotta Love Connecticut Hockey, I'm Francesco Graziano Jr.